All right. First
There
is
used to be a recording feature on here too. I'm trying to remember where that's at now, but there used to be a recording feature at the end. So,
oh, okay.
but I'd use Screenomatic too, just in
All
case.
right. Um, how long have you been in education, and what is your current position? Oh, just give me your name
I,
too.
oh, for sure. Scott Hagedorn. I've been in education for 15 years now. And my current position, I'm a technology teacher, and I'm also the director of instructional technology.
Okay. What does it mean to be a connected educator for you?
I think being able to reach out and have a lot of contacts, and I know, especially with Twitter, I'm always out there like trying to get other ideas from other people, try to collaborate with other people, and just try to figure out what's working and what's not working, and trying to change, especially from my side on the technology aspect, trying to figure out what's working and what's not working and how to improve it.
One of the reasons why I was following you is because I saw an interview of you talking about one on one,
Sure.
and it was really good. I liked the what you mentioned about insurance and making the kids accountable for and I think you mentioned something about that at the end the kids are able to purchase the technology. That was a very good idea, and I kind of like I'm trying to bring that up at the district, and because we're not one yet, we just have Chromebooks,
Right.
only and not all of them, but we just have a few. But it was a very good idea.
Yeah.
Um,
You saw the interview. That was the last district I was at.
yeah.
So when we were there, we were 1-to-1 with iPads, and the district I'm at now, we're 1-to-1 with Chromebooks. So we
Oh.
basically have a lot of the same ideas that we were using at the last district. The only difference is here with the Chromebooks, they use it, they take it home every single day. During the summer is the only time they don't have it, and they don't purchase it here. But
Okay.
we're also a little smaller out here too.
How is the insurance affordable?
Oh yeah, we offered it to the students for free this year. I think we were actually getting it uh, maybe $30, right around there, for the students. They gave us a really good deal with it, and we're still using the Worth Avenue group, which is what I was using at the last district as well, and it's working great.
Wow. Um, can you please tell me two or three benefits, like short-term benefits of being a connected educator?
Sure. Um, did you ask me that question already?
Well, the other one is like, what does it mean? But I guess you answer it there, maybe.
Okay. Well,
Well,
I would still say kind of the same thing in terms of you have a lot of resources. You can kind of see, when we're talking about the 1-to-1, for instance, you have other groups. I got a lot of that idea from talking to people in Maine, because Maine had a 1-to-1 program that they've had in place for close to 10 years now. And I was trying to figure out what was working well for them. And I was in the district in Kansas before I moved to Texas. We're kind of going through the same process you're going through right now in terms of trying to figure out how are we going to start looking at going 1-to-1. And a lot of it is just talking to other people and trying to figure out what's working well for them, what obstacles to avoid, and you save yourselves a lot of headaches just by talking to other people who have gone through that process. So you're not reinventing the wheel a lot of times.
okay.
And I think that's all an advantage of being able to kind of reach out to a larger community and figure out what's going on.
What do you think about teachers blogging? What is your opinion?
I think it's a great idea. I think a lot. I don't know why, but I think a lot of teachers kind of fear the outside community looking into their classroom. For me, I think a lot of times it avoids a lot of obstacles. A lot of times you see in the media of, well, such and such a teacher was doing something in their classroom and there's some sort of scandal. I think if you open it up and kind of show what's going on in your classroom, and you have it like a daily vlog or something like that, where the parents can kind of follow what's going on, I think it's a huge advantage to yourself as a teacher and also to the school community as well. just because they can actually see what's going on in your classroom and there's no questions. And I've found that, that you get a lot more parent buy-in because the parents who are interested now have their outlet to kind of follow. And, a lot of times it's more or less, I saw you were doing this. Can I help with you on this aspect instead of what's going on in your classroom? A lot of those parents are already following what's going on if you do blog.
How I know that you use Twitter the most, right?
Yes.
How about Facebook? Or is that more like family oriented?
I used to use Facebook a long time ago. I started getting away from Facebook though, which I kind of blame my mother-in-law because when I got married, my mother-in-law was following every single thing, and then you had the interesting issue at the time too, in terms of I was living in Kansas at that time, and we had issues where students who are currently in the school wanting to follow the teachers, and Missouri had a ruling at one point where they kind of outlawed it. And at that point, I just kind of got away from Facebook because I thought this could be a potential issue at some point. So that's why I kind of moved away from that one.
do you use
I see a lot of people.
Do you use Instagram at all?
When it first came out, but the district I was in then kind of wanted to kind of prevent the students from using it. So Twitter was the one that more or less the school districts around here, they were okay with. So that's kind of why I started using Twitter more for school.
I'm assuming that you don't use Snapchat, right? That's only for
kids. We were using Snapchat too at one
point. Oh, you are?
We were testing it out, yeah. But again, I kind of found it strange when the superintendent was telling you can't use these things, and then me turning around saying, okay, here's the different things we're going to be using. I kind of thought that was kind of a little hypocritical of that, so I kind of stayed away from that.
Oh, okay.
But if your district is okay with it, I think there's a lot of advantages. They've got huge followings on all of those outlets if you have administration to do
it. I know you have your own website. How much do you use that website?
Not too often anymore. Partly, a lot of the stuff I was using on my website before, once back in the day, and now we have Google Classroom. So now we have the little feature where you can actually add the parents to the Google Classroom as well. So a good chunk of the time, I just use that for local stuff with the school district in terms of parents notifying what's going on. And then kind of Twitter is just kind of showing off different things that the kids are doing too.
I decided not to use the Google too much because, like, if I want to move to another district and then I cannot take it with me, and like if I want to express any personal thoughts, and then I kind of like restrict it to do it.
Right. Well, and that's kind of where, for my website, for instance, that's where I kind of got away from Google as well. When you switch districts or something like that, if you're using like the Google sites in general, that's one where you're right. The last district's going to kind of control that domain.
Right now, social media, like in our school, is restricted for students. Do the kids have access to social media at your district?
Yes and no. Their phones are kind of banned here, which I think is interesting, where we're trying to kind of show that you can actually use phones in education, and it's not a big deal, especially because the last district I was at, we were one-to-one with iPads. So, it was pretty much a phone to a certain degree. But the kids, they do have like Twitter accounts and things like that they can actually log in and see. And we have a lot of kids. I'm kind of surprised. There's a lot of kids that actually have Twitter accounts, and they're using it for educational purposes. And that, a lot of it is just more or less trying to show the kids, first of all, have a good online presence. That's a good conversation where, especially with the high school kids who are trying to apply for scholarships, and so a lot of the times they're kids and they're posting a lot of really silly stuff.
Right.
And, we're trying to teach the kids. You might create like a school account, in sense that you're kind of posting, have that on a different account, but actually have a good educational account that actually has current post and you're posting stuff and kind of showing your academic side as opposed to here's things that you did over the weekend. And I think the kids are starting to catch on to that too.
Uh, do you have a lot of parents following you on Twitter?
Um, I think so. I know I have a lot of the students, probably more students than their parents, but I know that the parents are seeing it because the parents are telling me that they've seen such and such pictures or whatnot. So I know that they're following it somehow, but I don't know if they're necessarily the ones that are adding me on the account.
You mentioned about, as we as a teacher, sometimes we are lacking resources. Uh, do you post your needs in Twitter, and do parents like say, "Oh yeah, I'm here. I can help you out, getting you this or stuff for the
Um,
classroom."
the district we're at right now, it's a very, very tiny district, but there's a lot of refineries. So we actually have quite a bit of resources for that. But the district I was at before, sometimes I would use that to kind of show people different things that we were needing. Or, if we were doing an experiment and I needed, popsicle sticks or something like that, maybe I could ask for those types of things. And I know there's a lot of people that will use it for that feature. Me personally, I don't use it that much for that purpose.
What is the percentage of teachers being connected in your district? Like they have a Twitter account, but they use it for their work, not just personal.
I think almost every teacher here actually has a Twitter account. I'm trying to think of a teacher that doesn't. Now, active, I would say maybe 45-50% are active where they're actually posting stuff, on a weekly basis. But I do know most of the teachers have an account, and I see that they post, at least once or twice a year, they're posting something.
Okay. Uh, how difficult or how easy is to not get involved with the politics or any type of thing that is not associated with education?
Uh, that can be pretty difficult. I try to stay away from that partly because I've been a technology teacher for a long time. But I do know a lot of teachers kind of have those issues where that especially during the presidential campaigns, you have people that want to post opinions on those things, and there's sometimes I guess there's an outlet for that. Sometimes I kind of think that can kind of cause more unnecessary headaches than you're wanting it to.
Yeah.
Because especially the way I look at it is I'm more or less trying to show off what my kids are doing, not trying to cause different debate, in terms of this teacher has this thought process or something like that. I don't necessarily want that for me.
Now that you bring that up, about the kids, a few years ago, when I was trying to like take pictures of kids, what they're doing, like I got in big trouble, right? And now I see a lot of teachers posting pictures of kids on Twitter, like making it so visual for everyone.
Sure.
And are they getting in trouble? It seems like no one is saying anything about that anymore.
I have a policy at the very beginning of the year in my classes. And one of the classes I teach a video editing class. So I just put it in all of my policies where at the very beginning of the year, I have a little permission slip that they actually have to have signed by their parents that kind of explains the fact that we're going to be putting a lot of things online. And I kind of tell the parents, a lot of this is me showing off your kid because I want, other companies, other universities or whatnot who are looking at, what your child is doing. And I'm kind of showing a presence of what they're doing. So I actually have them create the Twitter account and everything else in my classroom as well. But you're right. If you don't have that permission slip, you can get in trouble big time. I had a student at the district I was at before here who his parents went through a kind of a really messy divorce, and they were trying to keep the kid more or less quiet because the other parent was kind of obsessive and trying to find out where their kid was, and it was a big mess. And with that kid, if I would have posted any information with their name or something like that online, then not only am I violating my school issues, but then court issues and all
Right.
that stuff. I mean, that's a big lawsuit. And a lot of times, a lot of the teachers are kind of unaware of some of those situations.